Hey, back in episode 537, we wound up talking about Loom, and I shared how Dallas Taylor, who I had interviewed on GigGab, used Loom to buy back his time by creating essentially training videos for his staff, showing them, here's how I do a thing. Now you can refer to this anytime you want because it's now your job to do that thing, whatever it
Powerful.
is.
Yeah, very powerful.
Super powerful. We got a note from Todd, says to follow up on that discussion, Slack also has the capability to record your screen with a live thumbnail of you in the lower right corner. Interesting. Okay, good to know.
Nice.
I love this. And then he says on the Mac, the CleanShot app has a ton of features, one of which is also recording your screen with a live thumbnail. Great developer, great updates coming very often with YouTube videos highlighting new features. So they're using,
Nice.
I'm sure he's using CleanShot to teach you how to use CleanShot. Why wouldn't he? Yep. So I'll put those links in the show notes.
Yeah, do it.
But
the thing
I brought it up because you were talking about Loom pre-show. Yeah.
the thing I love about Loom is, you get the video and everything, but it does a transcript along the side as it creates it. When you share that link, people can comment, ask questions right in there, and you can get this asynchronous dialogue going if you're trying to describe something to somebody. You can edit the basically via the transcript, which is really powerful.
Yeah.
And I think you can a good example of how I use it just before the show. So I have a guy that reached out and said, "Hey, I want you to come on my podcast, talk about your business experience." Yada yada.
Amazing.
Yada.
Yeah.
And he's super analytical, super smart guy, very successful. So he sends me like this pre-interview questionnaire, and it's
Sure.
two or three pages in a Google Doc. And I'm thinking, I'm not typing answers to this. I mean, it's just not the best use of my time.
Sure.
And so I told him, I said, hey, I'll just record a Loom, and I'll just go over the questionnaire and I'll talk my answers out because it's going to create a transcript if you need it in writing.
Yeah, you can you can paste it in wherever you want. Yep.
Yeah. So what would have taken me 45 minutes to break out, I was able to just walk through, scroll through answer his questions, give, feedback like, well, that question's not applicable here, or this is different, and gives a lot of nuance to it that I wouldn't want to, it would take me a long time to type out. And then I just sent him the link. Well, here you go.
This is brilliant. Because Loom in and of itself, like the whole idea, like Dallas explained, using it to train and buy back your time, brilliant use case of it. I never thought about using it to reply, changing the medium, right? Which is exactly what you did. You went from a written medium, which is allows you to be articulate, but can be cold.
Yep.
Right? To
time consuming. Yep.
And potentially time consuming. It depends on how you work, but I know you. And so for you, like looming it is way more efficient than writing it. And I would be the same way. And I think a lot of us would be the same way. But what I like about this is you showed him your personality.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
I like that too.
And this may not have been intentional, but I'm thinking about places where I would definitely do this intentionally now that you've kind of opened my eyes to it, because there's times where you get a note and it's like somebody's like, well, can you explain why this is or why that is? Like, I've mentioned we're selling this other company and there's a lot of back and forth. They're asking a lot of questions, which absolutely makes sense. And it gets cold with just the back and forth because it becomes this very like everybody wants to be as efficient as they can be. And so we're just typing and yada, yada. And it's like, wait, we forget that we're humans. And so using something like Loom or something like it to sort of be that, hey, I thought this one would be easier to answer if I just talked it out. And now you're getting me with my hands moving like a maniac and my inflection, and you can see the things I'm excited about, and you can see the things where I'm like, you're asking this question that's not really relevant, as opposed to just putting NA. Yes. Right? Like that was the thing. Cool. As you were describing it, it was like, wait a minute, this is so much better because now you get to hear a little bit from me about, well, this isn't relevant because of the way this business runs, and okay, we'll move on. And you can apply this. That's the nuance. Yes.
Yeah. I have a colleague up on X that uses it to do website roasts. He's it's a web hosting and design company, and so he gets on there and walks through websites and say, oh, here's this, here's that. There's just so many uses. I love the SOP use case that you mentioned up front.
Yep.
And just going over like, here, look, this is what I want done. This is why, and this is how I do it. And it even back to like I'm talking about this fundraising thing. One of the big time-consuming things that I do is handle the ticket sales online, the payments, the whole thing. Well, I have to teach somebody to do that if I'm going to step away, and I want to replace myself.
Right.
Just like business. So I'm going to walk through the whole Loom thing. Like, look, this is how I do it. This is how you set up Stripe. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. And I think it's great. And I think that there's a lot more uses for a screen recording product than we're thinking of.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So if you've used Loom or Slack or whatever to make these kinds of recording, what are we missing on the ways that you're using it? Reach out, feedback@businessbrain.show. We'd love to hear it.